Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So excited that you're here and ready and that you've stepped up to be facilitators or MCs for our youth organizers retreat. So happy to have you all on board. We do have some other folks. Hopefully some of them will be trickling in, and then we have heard from a couple of folks that we're going to have to do a makeup session. So just to let you know kind of what's happening with that, but I do want to respect your Saturday morning and make sure that we are kicking off on time and getting things started so that we can wrap up on time and you can go on with your afternoon. One of the things just off top that I want to say is I know that being a facilitator is a significant commitment of time, and really appreciate this work that you're doing so that other CYC members, when they come to this event, have the experience of having workshops run by CYC members. So you all are the ones that are making this happen. So really appreciate you stepping up into this role, taking it on. So I think all of you know this, but all of our facilitators and MCs have either attended CYC's Leadership Academy or have been or are a part of CYC's training committee. So all of you are coming into this work, you have passion for the work, and so glad that you're willing to share that with your fellow CYC members. So with that, do want to go ahead and kick things off and get things started with in the usual CYC tradition. So we are going to jump in with an icebreaker. Before we get to the icebreaker, it would be awesome if folks could go around and if you can say your name, which part of the state or chapter CYC that you're associated with, and your pronouns, sorry. So name, pronouns, and where you are coming to CYC from. And so I can start us off. My name is Kate. I use she, her pronouns, and calling in from just outside of Los Angeles. And my work in CYC is with the Los Angeles chapters. So I'm going to toss it over to Andrew.
Thank you, Kate. Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew, and I use the he, hers pronouns. I'm calling from the South Bay Area region, specifically the San Mateo chapter. And I'll popcorn it over to Felipe.
Hi, I'm Felipe, and I am in Costa Mesa, California. So that'd be the Orange chapter, I believe. Yeah, and I go by he, him. And I'll pass it over to Jakara.
Good morning here, everybody. It's Jakara. It's actually quite phonetic if you think about it. And I use she, her pronouns, and I am coming at you live from the northern region here in Sacramento. And I will go ahead and popcorn over to Tashi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tashiana Brown, and I am from the Contra Costa chapter, so it's the Bay Area. And I will pass it on to Aisha.
What's up, y'all? I'm Aisha, she, her, hers, and I'm with the Valley. Currently residing in Modesto. I'll popcorn it to Kenneth.
Hey, what's up, people? Kenneth or Kenny here. Pronouns he, him. And I'm calling from Los Angeles, LA, go Dodgers. And I'll popcorn it to the other Kenneth. No, I'm just kidding. I'll popcorn it to Jonas.
You said Jonas?
Yes, sir.
Yay! Hi, Jonas here. He, him pronouns. SoCal Riverside chapter. And was there another one I'm missing? I feel like there's another one I'm missing. All right, cool. Well, I'm doing good, and I'll pass it to Sabrina because Sabrina has her hand up.
Thank you, Jonas. Hi, I'm Sabrina Bong. I use she, her pronouns. and I'm from the Merced chapter here in the Central Valley, and I'm doing very well as well. I'll pass it to Andrew.
Thank you. I'll intercept and throw it over to Jeanette.
Good morning, facilitators. My name is Jeanette. I am in she, her, hers. I am in Los Angeles region with Kate and Kenny. And I'm doing well today. I want to be here in this space too to make sure we got all your travel done. I just want to throw that in there while we're here. I think the only person I haven't done is Felipe. So Felipe, at some point in time today, if you could reach out to me after the meeting, we could take care of that. And then I also need to take care of your travel for the actual retreat in July. So I plan on doing all that this weekend. So if you guys reach out to me after the meeting, or we could stay on, or I'm just here to listen in. So we could stay on afterwards and get some things done. That's okay with you guys. Anyway, that's it.
Awesome. And then Jeanette, you want to toss it over to Felicia?
Yeah, Felicia.
Hi, I'm Felicia, she and her, and I am in the Riverside area. And am I supposed to answer anything else? Okay.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, good. And so is my little baby, if you can hear him.
Yeah, give him in the back.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you all, and we are going to move into the icebreaker. So I am going to drop the icebreaker question in the chat, and Kenny is helping me out by making some breakout rooms. You're going to go into your breakout room with a partner and answer the following questions. So what brought you to your advocacy work? What brought you to CYC? So this is part of our getting to know each other and collective storytelling. So as we are learning and getting grounded in our advocacy work at CYC as part of the Youth Organizers Retreat, we're going to be asking members to talk about these kinds of things. So to kick us off and get us into that space, you are going to go into breakout room with your partner. You're each going to have about 2 minutes to share your origin story. So what brought you into advocacy work? What brought you into CYC? And then have the chance for your partner to share that. So does anybody have any questions before we open up the breakout rooms?
I don't have a question, but I want to say I'm really excited to be here. And this is great. I'm all happy right now. Thank you.
Yay. All right, Jonas, we're really glad that you're here too. So we appreciate the work that y'all are putting in as facilitators. So
Yes. All right, breakout rooms are ready.
and then the only thing I would add is if you finish up in your break, you're going to have that 5 minutes in your breakout room. If you finish up early, feel free to come back to the main room.
All right, here we go.
And Sabrina, are you having trouble getting into breakout room? Kenny, do we have somebody without a partner?
Felicia, Sabrina should be in there.
Okay, you want to move Felicia into a different breakout room so that she can talk with some folks?
Okay.
Sabrina may be having some technical difficulties.
Very, very sorry, guys. I was grabbing my son.
Oh,
Move her back, sorry.
okay, I'm over back. She's probably like, what the heck?
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all part of that flexibility thing.
Hey, Kate, I got the welcome from Jasmine and Caesar for the program book.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, turn.
Good, I knew Miguel was harassing them yesterday, so.
Yep, got that in.
Did you edit? Did you create a new curriculum, or because you talked about doing the huddle with
So I moved, so I did put, so the way this is working is there's one curriculum for kickoff
okay.
that, so Anna started it. And I don't think I reshared that one to you because you were already shared on it, but
Okay.
I will drop it in the chat. That's the one we're gonna go over today. But I basically just kind of copied and pasted from the one that you created.
All right. Okay.
So that Zoom is being difficult, and the other thing is I really hope that I shared it to all the facilitators. Not entirely sure I did. It was very late last night when I was sharing, so.
Okay. I thought I seen some stuff going out last night. I was like, it was very late.
Very sadly, the van got broken into. So when we got back from the game.
In the stadium?
No, not in the stadium. It was in a parking lot.
What? The white van?
Oh, because you guys didn't drive to the stadium. You walked up?
We took the bus, yeah.
Oh, okay. Where'd you park at?
It was in a parking lot in downtown.
Somewhere in downtown. Okay. Oh man, that sucks.
They take.
What was there stuff in there?
Yeah, they got Clarissa's suitcase. Which I have a feeling is why she's not here this morning. She was a little.
Oh, God.
Last night she was like, I don't know that I'm gonna make it. I mean, she was coming from a conference, so hadn't had a very full week, but.
Shoot. Damn. Okay.
But damn, yeah.
Was that the only thing in there?
There was other stuff, but that's the only thing they took.
They thought it was something. It was rental, right?
Yeah, they're I guess they're doing that again. They were doing that. They did that in front of the Oakland and Emeryville office. They broke in a rental that I had when I was out there a few years ago. They didn't get anything, and then when I went to Enterprise to return my, to get another car, there was 2 other people that were in the same neighborhood that they got their computers, out their cars in their bags. So.
Hey, Tashiana, welcome back. Oops, okay.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah.
All right, Kenny. Well, I'm gonna work on this program book. So.
Okay.
Call me if you need me, y'all. Okay, you want me to stay?
No, we're doing curriculum review stuff, so that's.
Kate don't like me, Kenny.
I just don't want you to. I don't know. If you don't feel like it's a good use of your time, I don't want you to feel like you have to be here.
Just hanging.
I'm just listening in. I don't know. Anyway, I'm doing something else while I'm listening, so maybe I'll stay.
From my perspective, it's totally fine if people hang out, but yeah, like. Hey, Sabrina, Felicia, welcome back.
Thank you for having us.
And Kenny, has it been 5 minutes?
Yeah. I'm gonna pull them back. I'll pull them back.
Like, interrupt everybody in the middle of their storytelling.
They got 60 seconds. So.
I feel like what happens in the breakout rooms is it pops up and says you've got 60 seconds. So that like interrupts the conversation, but there's always somebody who's like in the middle of something. And so there's this like 30 seconds where people are like, oh my God, we're gonna get pulled back. And then the person starts talking again. And then right in the middle of whatever sentence they're saying, like, the breakout room's closed.
It goes. Right. Or just the opposite. That person that didn't get to say nothing finally realizes it, and 42 seconds in, they're like, "My name is."
Welcome back. Welcome back. Hopefully that was not too abrupt of a transition. Anybody in the middle of a sentence there when we came back?
I was in the middle of showing someone my cat. Oh my God.
Oh, we have the kitties.
He doesn't like being held. I
Put me down. Put me down.
wanted to show you. Can you say hi, please? He's so loving, but he's not cuddly. It's like so.
What? Another one.
Hey. Oh yeah, you said you have two? Those orange cats are really cuddly from what I've heard, but I'm not sure.
She's actually rare because she is a she. Orange tabbies are traditionally males.
I feel, yeah, you're right actually. What the hell? Oh, sorry.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, I am very glad that y'all had a little bit of a chance to get to know each other. And share a little bit about who you are and why you do what you do. So this is going to be sort of the theme for this youth organizers retreat that you all are going to be facilitating. So really excited to kind of get you all into that vein of things and making sure that you're thinking about it in this way, because you're going to be guiding other participants through this process. So a little bit about what's happening to help you all or support you all to prepare to be facilitators for the youth organizing retreat. Hopefully all y'all have in your calendars 4 curriculum review sessions. So the first one's today. We're going to be meeting again tomorrow morning from 10 to 12. And then Monday, we'll be meeting from 6 to 8. And Wednesday from 6 to 8. Friday, we're going to see y'all. So that is going to be our T for T weekend, or Training for Trainers weekend. Looking really forward to seeing y'all in sunny San Diego. Hopefully it will be sunny in San Diego. But it will be a chance for you, one, to pick up some additional facilitation skills to help you prep, as well as be in the space that you'll be facilitating in and practice facilitating in the space that you're going to be in. So does anybody have any questions about kind of what's happening over the next week and day?
Oh, actually, I do. I did see the email about the PCR test, so we need to have that taken by Tuesday.
So I'm going to toss that over to Kenny.
Yeah, let me see. I'm just trying to make sure I was unmuted. Yes, by Tuesday, if you can get that done, that way it has time to process and you can get the results back. There was a link dropped in the chat, in the text message. I think most CVSs are doing that.
Urgent care.
Or urgent care. Yeah. So if you're having any troubles figuring it out, let us know and we can help you figure that out.
Yeah, so great question, Jakara, because that's we definitely want to make sure. So part of it is, in a lot of ways, T4T is a trial run for the conference, right? For the youth organizing retreat. So we are also going to be asking members to do that prior to coming out in July. So any kind of challenges or barriers that you're running into, we learn from it so that we can better support other folks through it. So definitely let us know how that's going.
Quick question, the COVID test needs to be done before or by the 20th, right? Because it takes 3 days. Was that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Andrew in the chat asked if he gets PCR free on Wednesday and the results by Thursday morning. Totally great. The deal is we're going to need them pretty much by Thursday evening. So, and definitely by Friday morning before you travel. So as long as, you know, I try to make sure that we're having like a Thursday kind of early evening deadline, but you know, it is before you travel is when you know those PCR results. So I know it's always kind of a game to figure out how to get them within the window. So, yep. Andrew, if you want to do it on Wednesday in your normal testing routine, awesome. But for other folks, plan on Tuesday afternoon, put it in your calendar to make sure you're getting that PCR test done. Right. So that's kind of the plan to help support you all to get ready for the youth organizing retreat. But want to also make sure you have a sense of what is going to be happening at the youth organizing retreat. So as facilitators, we want to give you a look at the agenda. And Kenny, you want to do screen share or you want me to screen share?
I can screen share really quick. I was just checking the weather.
Oh, okay. Never mind, that's important.
Yeah, no, the 24th, we got 74 straight across the board. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 74s. In San Diego. Can't beat that.
So for those of us who are from hotter spots, this will be very nice relief.
Yes.
All right, so up to now, we've been talking about sort of the facilitator prep session. We are now switching over to talk about the statewide youth organizers retreats. So the conference when everybody comes. The official dates for the youth organizing retreat is July 8th through the 10th. It is going to be at San Diego State. Just a reminder that you all will be traveling up on July 7th. We want to make sure that you all are there and have a chance to be settled, get into those workshop rooms again, do a little bit of practice. And there's no unfortunate travel incidents that happen on the day that you're supposed to facilitate. So we do ask you all to come up a day early. So just the heads up, you're going to be at San Diego State on July 7th. Everybody else will be arriving on Friday, July 8th. And we won't really see most of them until around 11 or 12. So as folks are traveling in, we'll start to see them kind of poking up, starting that check-in and registration process. During this check-in and registration process up until lunch, you all will actually be setting up your workshop rooms, making sure you have everything you need, doing what you need to be ready to get into your facilitation. So just know that that morning section on the agenda, folks will be checking in, whatever, you all will be doing something a little bit different. Gonna have lunch, and then we are gonna move into the opening kickoff. So this is the first facilitation piece that happens. The opening kickoff is going to be a large group session. And within that large group session, there will be some breakout groups. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. Much of this is going to be facilitated by the MCs. And you as facilitators will be supporting in the breakout groups. So as the MCs are kind of moving folks through this agenda, they'll be giving directions to the group as a whole. You will be supporting in the breakout groups, helping to guide the participants, make sure they're getting their questions answered, and moving forward through the activities. So our MCs are going to get us all hyped. They're going to have some activities for us to welcome folks to the conference, go over the conference objectives, make sure that folks are excited to be where they are. Then they're going to move us through a celebration exhibit. So one of the big things, this is going to be our first time coming together in person. For many folks, it'll be our first time ever being at a CYC event in person. For other people, it has been since February 2020, since CYC was together in person statewide in a group this large. So we are going to take a couple of minutes and looking back over the last couple of years since we were last in person. So from February 2020 to July 2022, what have been some of the wins that CYC has had, our victories? What is some of our accomplishments? How have we grown as an organization? So we are going to take some time to really celebrate and appreciate where we are at CYC. And so those two sections will be a series of activities led by the MCs. The next session, we start to get into a little bit of business. So we do want to make sure that folks understand what's going to be happening over the weekend, that they have a sense of what the agenda is, and that they have a sense of what the expectations are as we're working together in this space. So, one of the things is anytime we're together in a group, we need agreements about how we'll work together. There's been several teams of members who are working on making sure that although we will have these expectations, that they are expectations in a way that we can support members to meet those expectations, that there are lots of reminders about them. So there's some fun activities being planned, and Aisha, Andrew, I know you've been part of the groups that are working towards that. Kenny, I know you've been working closely with a couple members on that. I don't know if y'all want to say anything about conference expectations.
Wait, are you talking about SPRC or which meeting is this?
The conflict resolution meeting.
Yeah, the one with us and Juan, and then we're waiting for May to get back from camp to really kind of narrow down on what that presentation looks like as far as the conference expectations itself. May has done some work and created some wonderful like signage and handouts that will, one, go into the program book, two, be hung around the dorms and our space, our cubicle space for that weekend. That kind of talks a little bit about, I should have had it pulled up. It talks a little bit about just some of the big reasons why we're all gathering and what the expectation is from each other. So just as reminders, as you're walking down the hall or you're walking through the dorm rooms, hallways, right, you'll see the signage that just throws up those reminders of why we're all here and and staying focused on the goal. So
yeah, Kenny basically summed it up. I would just want to say it was kind of like a space where I guess we come up with like, I don't want it to sound super like
right,
police or something, but a space where we just kind of come up with like, I don't want to say regulations, but just like a space for us to make CYC better, I would say, in the aspects of just like of how we make people feel and what we can do to just like help if somebody is feeling some type of way, and things like that.
Absolutely. And as we kind of go through this, Also thinking about the space that you want to create and hold in your workshop rooms is going to be really important. So really wanting you to think about the conference goals and the experiences that you want people to have, and what sorts of things that you're going to do in the spaces where you're leading to create that culture in the space. So there'll be this chance for the whole group, but then also in your workshop rooms, there'll be opportunities for you to kind of build that sense of community as well. So that'll happen. And that part of the kickoff will be a little bit of moving around, getting people up and going. So that also will be managed primarily by the MCs with some support from some additional members. Then we move into the chapter huddle. So this is where the breakouts start happening. So part of what will be happening during the conference is members will be learning some skills to increase their local advocacy work. So just as you all went through the Leadership Academy and we're learning some specific tools around community organizing, this Youth Organizers Retreat is focused around a lot of those skills. And so wanting to have folks in a chapter-like group in order to be able to learn those skills and then have a little bit of a chance to practice them. So the format throughout the conference weekend is that folks will be in what we call makeshift chapters. So we do want folks to have a chance to meet people from across the state. So instead of being in your chapter group, and also because we may have some folks coming from places where there's only 1 or 2 members and some folks coming from places where there's 7 or 8 members. So you're not going to be in your regular chapter groups for this, but this first activity is actually going to set up the makeshift chapters or the groups that people are going to be in throughout the weekend. So as facilitators, you're going to be working with a group. Throughout the weekend, there's going to be 6 groups. So 2 facilitators will be working with 1 makeshift chapter. And we're going to get into a little bit, but this activity is going to set up, get folks into those groups. And then they're going to go through a couple of activities, creating a chant together and creating a mascot together, kind of do some of that icebreaker, get them started talking with each other. So that will be a section where the MCs are giving directions from the stage. You as the facilitators are going to be supporting those groups as they're working together. And so we're going to get into a little bit more as you kind of see what's going to be happening during those activities about kind of the role of you as a facilitator. We'll have a chance for the makeshift chapters to come back to share their chants. There'll be picture taking with the mascots. And this is all setting up for, so I was like, Kenny, I don't know what you want to call it, but like some group bonding activities throughout the weekend, AKA chapter Olympics. So there is going to be a little bit of opportunity for competition, for chapters to earn some points based on some of the activities that are happening throughout the weekend. But this is going to be introducing some of those things. After the chapter huddle, they're going to go back into their chapter groups and do what we call collective storytelling. So as a part of community organizing, one of the things that's really important is to start that relationship building process by telling our stories together. And so this is where we start getting into the actual foster power curriculum with the collective storytelling activity. So this is an introduction activity that will help people get a little bit deeper. So in the chapter huddle activities, it's kind of more surface, get to know you sort of things. Collective storytelling is asking people to go a little bit deeper, share a little bit more about how they came to be a part of CYC. This collective storytelling is also going to tie back to our celebration exhibit by being able to create the opportunity for us to create a timeline together about the advocacy work that we do. And so some of the points that came up in the celebration activity will come up again in this. After the collective storytelling kind of closes out, your role as facilitators will wrap up for the afternoon. And then we will have a grounding activity to kind of close out that kickoff session. And so that'll be an opportunity to kind of come back together, get into our bodies, and close out the work that we were doing for the day before we move on to dinner and evening activities. So not that we will be done for the day, but we will be done with the work and moving into the more fun section that folks are planning for us. Does anybody have any questions about this first day? All right.
There's a lot. There's so much in the schedule. That's amazing. There's so much to do.
There's so much to do. And so just as facilitators really thinking about this, also keeping in mind, folks are going to be traveling that day too, right? So traveling can be a little unsettling. Sometimes it goes really well and it's easy, and sometimes it's a little more challenging. So also as facilitators, what you're doing is supporting folks in these spaces, right? So this first day, we're not being too intense. It's a little bit of like getting folks into the space, getting them ready for things. We're mostly in large group. So we'll be in one space that day instead of in our individual workshop rooms. So this is kind of like also a day for folks to kind of, we're going to try to keep them in as much as possible, but if folks need to take a step away, this is a great, there's the flexibility in the programming for that. All right. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on things. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and or go ahead and speak up. So either way works, but all right, we'll go into day 2. So hopefully after the grounding, and if you have a great time at the evening activities, you'll have a chance to hang out with folks that you came with, meet some new folks. Then we'll go into day 2 of our conference on Saturday, and Kenny will scroll down.
Oh, sorry.
We'll start off with breakfast and then go into opening circle. So MCs will be facilitating opening circle. Facilitators, you'll be there in the space, but will be in a much more informal support role. And then in opening circle, we will have a grounding activity, kind of to welcome people into the day. And then the MCs will lead us through an agenda review and announcements so people know what to expect from the day. After the opening circle, we will go into session 1. So facilitators, this will be you all. Something to note is the timing on this, right? So this session is a 3-hour session. And it is going to be going from 10 to 1:15. So we are going to make sure you have snacks in your room so that folks who may or may not have had breakfast are going to have some support to keep engaged and work through that. Also, you are encouraged to read the room and make sure that folks are taking breaks. So the way that the session is set up is there's a series of activities that you'll be leading folks through, and that you'll have the opportunity to kind of take breaks or do energizers in between some of those activities. The activities are meant to be interactive and have folks moving around and talking with each other. So hopefully they will be kind of recharging as they're going. Also just want to acknowledge that that's a long session. So the other heads up, so I talked about how as facilitators, there'll be 2 of you assigned to a makeshift chapter. There will be 2 makeshift chapters in each workshop room. So we will have 3 workshop rooms. There will be 2 makeshift chapters in each room, which means that there will be a total of 4 facilitators in each workshop room. So as you're thinking about who's doing what in session 1, you're going to have 3 other folks to share the facilitation roles. So you'll be rotating around in terms of who is speaking in front of the room, who's supporting in small groups, who's kind of floating around and supporting folks as things are coming up in the workshop room. So I know that was a lot of numbers that I was throwing out at you, but does anybody have any questions about kind of that setup of what's happening in the workshop rooms? Cool. All right. 1:30, we're gonna take a break, go get some lunch. And then we're gonna come back for session 2 in the afternoon. So session 2 should be a little bit longer than, than it is marked on this. So it should go to 5:30, I thought. 5? I think it goes to 5.
If it goes to 5, but the closing circle is at 4:45.
Yeah, I feel it. So one of the things got pushed back a little bit because of the session 1. So we'll double check on the times. And actually, you might be able to check your curriculum right quick. Let's see. Yeah, session 2 is 105 minutes. Cannot translate that into hours, but we'll work on it.
Okay, we'll tweak that.
So,
Those are the things.
no, actually. Anyway. And then after session 2, we will have closing circle. Again, that will be led. And funnily enough, in the rest of the world as well. and the closing circle will be led by the MCs again. In this closing circle, there actually is another workshop activity. So again, as facilitators, although you won't be leading the activity, you will be supporting the engagement of members in this activity. And so there will be a little bit of reflection on kind of what people were learning in the workshop that day. Then we have something called the Man in the Goods activity. And so this is relating to campaign work, but really kind of introducing some terms in a kind of fun and more interactive way to set you up for session 3 that will happen the next day. So there will be a workshop activity happening in that closing circle. And then we will wrap up with some grounding again, kind of close out our workday before we move into the fun evening activities and dinner that night. And then we will come back refreshed the following morning for Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, open with breakfast. The MCs will conduct opening circle and we'll have a grounding to prepare us for the day. Make sure that we and members know what's happening that day. Then we'll get into session 3. So session 3 is a continuation of the work and the skill building that we were doing the day before. So you all will be leading session 3 in your workshop rooms. And what you will be doing during that time is working with your makeshift chapters to create some demands and hopefully some action steps, depending on how the groups are working together. And that is going to set up for a mock town hall meeting. So you will be facilitating session 3, making sure groups are prepping and being ready. And then the makeshift chapters, all of us are going to come back to the main room, and we're going to have this mock town hall meeting. So we'll have folks that are going to be acting as elected officials, and the chapters will be getting up to present their demands. And so it's kind of going to be a makeshift, because depending on kind of what chapters to select as an issue, who will be the elected officials is going to be a little bit up in the air. And so we kind of know some of that, but it could be the board of supervisors, it could be a state legislator, it could be a social services department. Our mock folks are going to switch hats a little bit depending on kind of who they need to be as the chapters are presenting these demands. But the chapters will have a chance to practice getting up and saying what it is that they're advocating for, and being really specific. And we'll have a little bit of fun with it. So some of our elected officials will be behaving in ways that our elected officials behave when we're trying to get them to do things. And so this will be kind of a fun activity that wraps up the work that we've been doing to support people to move through the steps of campaign work. So we'll kind of wrap that up, close that out. Go on to lunch, and then we will have a closing circle that day. So in the closing circle, this is going to be actually closing out the conference. So this closing circle will be kind of formally wrapping up, ending the conference. We're going to do some recognitions for the Legend Policy Committee folks who will also be wrapping up their terms, and acknowledging the kind of work that they've done throughout the year to get us to where we are. Closing that out, and then grounding the 4 folks, wrap up the conference and travel home. So you all will not be ending your time at the conference and traveling home after this, because as leaders who've been teaching and facilitating this foster power curriculum, you're actually going to stick around for an extra afternoon and half the day on Monday. So we're going to continue to do some work to make sure that you are being able to go back into your communities and build on some of the things that you started in the Leadership Academy to keep moving those things forward. So also just a heads up, lots of folks will be departing that afternoon. You all are going to have a chance to do a little bit of rest. I'm hoping we can get access to the pool or something, so that you can kind of refresh a little bit. And then we're going to come back and do a little bit more work moving forward what we've started with the Leadership Academy. So also just wanting to make sure that that's in folks' minds. But does anybody have any questions about this final day of the conference before we move into our convening as the Leadership Academy? Yeah, Jonas.
So this is like the last thing you mentioned, and it's not really the it's not really a big question, obviously, but you said pool.
Crossing fingers, but yeah, I mean, I do want to, because as you all are leading these workshops and these workshop sessions, this is going to be work, right? So
yeah, I get it. It's a lot, definitely. I mean, it's really cool. There's just like a lot to it, and like a lot of workshops, a lot of meetings, like, you know, it's really cool though.
But even if it's not a pool, we will definitely make sure that there's some sort of activity that allows y'all to kind of decompress a little.
Yeah, I was just asking, like, I knew it didn't have to be like a for sure thing, or anything like that. I wasn't like, oh my God, like I'm expecting a pool, like, you know, I was like, damn.
Hopefully, I mean, San Diego, right? Yeah, Aisha.
So, okay, so the facilitators are leaving on the 11th.
Yes, Monday the 11th.
Okay, awesome. No, I just wanted to clarify.
Monday the 11th in the afternoon.
Okay, awesome.
And for the policy and ledge committee people like myself, we're leaving on Tuesday.
You are also, I believe, leaving Monday afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Kate.
Yeah, so there are a couple of folks that, as you take on multiple roles within CYC, so there will be several folks that are staying to do some particular work. So Leadership Academy folks will be doing some work together. Lesson Policy Committee folks, as they're wrapping up the terms, will be doing some work together. And the Strategic Refresher Planning Committee folks will be doing some work together. So there will be other CYC members floating around, but we're going to be moving out of kind of workshop space into a different kind of workspace for that final day. Yeah, Aaron.
I was just wondering if there's any flexibility for that Monday to leave earlier instead of the afternoon, if possible. I didn't know. Just to clarify.
I mean, I think short answer is always, of course. However, right? I was like, we'd love to have you stay for what you can, and you know, life is life, right? So.
List for changes. So yeah, check in with us, Aramis, and let us know your needs, and we'll make it happen.
Okay. So for these curriculum review sessions, what we are wanting to do is make sure that you actually have a chance to open up that curriculum, get your hands on it. We're going to go through it and then have the opportunity to ask questions, make sure that what needs to be in the curriculum is in the curriculum, that things are connecting together, and that you as facilitators are starting to get a sense of what's happening in these workshops. So hopefully, crossing fingers, you all have an email that has a link to the kickoff session curriculum, session 1, session 2, and session 3 curriculum. So those are the 4 pieces of curriculum that you all will be leading. And just drop the link for the kickoff curriculum. Today, we are going to focus on the kickoff curriculum. Tomorrow, we will get into session 1 curriculum, Monday, session 2, and Wednesday, session 3. So if folks can go ahead and open that up, and Penny, you could let me share screen. That would be appreciated. So a couple things to note. CYC curriculum. So curriculum essentially is the outline about what's going to happen in the workshop. So it sets out kind of the order of activities, but also provides some information about how you can run those activities. CYC curriculum, we do have a particular way of putting together curriculum, and not all organizations do curriculum in the same way. So just something to note. However, you will see many common elements in different curriculums. So when you see a CYC curriculum, generally you will see at the top of the curriculum, this box. And in the box, it goes through some basic information about the workshop. So the purpose of the workshop, who you're presenting to, the time, so how long is this going to take? Learning objectives, so when participants leave the workshop, what is it that you want them to understand or know? And what kinds of materials are you going to need during the workshop? Yes, and if for some reason you did not get this, did not get the chunks of curriculum in your emails, please let me know or let Kenny know so that we can make sure that you get that, because for the next couple of weeks, we really want you living with these curriculums, getting to know them really well so that you are prepared when it's your turn to facilitate. So can I have somebody read what is the purpose of this opening kickoff session?
To welcome and inspire members and make sure everybody knows what to expect and how to participate throughout the retreat.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabrina. And who is the audience for this opening kickoff session?
CYC members.
Yes. Although one thing to note is you will also have a group of supporters who will be participating in both this opening kickoff as well as the workshop sessions. Do folks know what supporters are?
No, not in this context, I think.
Right?
Wait.
Does anybody want to take a stab at what are supporters? And
Like staff support?
not staff support. What are supporters?
Okay, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was like. Okay.
And-
People who support the movement and the cause of the event.
Yeah, so they are volunteers with CYC. They may or may not have been former foster youth or former CYC members. If they are former CYC members, they are folks who are over 25 and are continuing to give back and stay involved with the CYC community. And essentially, their role is to support members to do their work. So one, we do want the supporters to kind of get a lot of this information and training that you're providing to the CYC members, because they're going to be able to support members in this work when they go back into their communities. And the other thing is supporters are going to be there to help you all out during the workshop. So they're also there to support member engagement, and if things are coming up, like somebody needs some aspirin or ibuprofen or something, supporters are kind of there to help and make sure that people are getting what they need in order to engage in the work. So that is kind of the role of supporters in general. They are folks that live or work in a community that has a CYC chapter. They get training. So they work with Jeanette. They have monthly supporter chats. There's training that's a part of that. Also, many of them are coming into the CYC community because they have relationships with existing members. And so the supporters do play a little bit of a different role than staff. And so there are folks like Kenny, like me, Michaela, Jordan. I feel like Sade is going to be in this in-between role, right? Because she won't officially be a CYC staff, but in many ways, yeah. So the plan is we're like crossing fingers that Sade will be there. It'd be really great to have her there. But the staff support role is a little bit different than what the supporters do. So staff are paid folks. And there is a different expectation for them. Supporters are volunteers. They're there because they really believe in the CYC members and the work of CYC. Not that staff don't believe in the work of CLC, but okay. So this opening kickoff is going to be 3 hours. Does anybody remember what day and what time the opening kickoff is starting?
Like right after breakfast, right?
Not quite.
Okay, I screenshotted it, so I'm gonna go. So my
What day is opening kickoff happening on?
Friday.
Opening kickoff's happening on Friday.
Right.
So in the morning, CYC members will be traveling in. They'll be checking.
Oh, sorry. I know you had said that like it kind of won't necessarily start until like 11 as they are still traveling in.
Right. So, and we'll give them some chance to kind of get checked into the dorms, get settled down, have some lunch. So the opening kickoff is not actually happening until 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So this is starting, yep, there we go, Kenny. So opening kickoff is later in the day on Friday. So just so that you know, you are going to be doing some other things throughout the morning. Lunch will happen, kind of like get yourself grounded. Then we're going to go into opening kickoff in the afternoon. So we will still have some folks trickling in, depending on how far they're traveling. But 2 o'clock, we're going to get into opening kickoff. In terms of materials, so, oh, sorry. All right, learning objectives. Who would like to read off what the learning objectives, when members leave opening session, what do we want them to have learned or experienced?
Oh, can I read off? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Engage and inspire members. These are the learning objectives. I'm going to start here. Hopefully I can talk. Celebrate wins and collective impact, understanding, work on our understanding of purpose and of retreat and member expectations, as well as understanding of current statewide campaigns, create makeshift chapters for the retreat, to build community through telling our stories, to cultivate a collective commitment to keep fighting, and grounding and centering practice. There we go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a lot happening in this first opening session. So I do want to acknowledge this is a lot. So as we're bringing people into the space, we're wanting to get them hyped up and excited for what's going to happen. And we're also doing this work of setting up for the workshop sessions that are going to be happening throughout the weekend. The third big piece of this, right, is we want people to start that process of getting to know each other. So one of the big objectives of the whole weekend is to start that community building process that we've been missing through Zoom and get folks used to talking to each other again. So definitely, I know, right? Definitely having the opportunity for folks to get into the space and start interacting with each other. So a lot of these activities are set up to kind of inspire, but also to get folks moving around and talking to each other. The MCs are going to have some opportunity to kind of determine what exactly some of those activities are going to look like. So when we get into later in the curriculum, kind of seeing those opportunities. And then for the facilitators, your role again is going to be to, one, be those plants in the audience that are supporting the MCs, getting the energy up, and then supporting in those small groups as folks are starting to work together to make sure folks are understanding the directions and what's supposed to be happening in those groups. And then the final part of our opening box, anytime you're looking at CYC curriculum, is materials. these are kind of your checklist of what do you need to make sure that you have and that you know where it is before starting a workshop. It's kind of a cheat sheet to make sure that you're having all the materials that you need. This materials box will probably be added to as we're confirming some of the activities that will be happening as the MCs work through and develop some of the things that they're going to need. So just know that that materials list might grow a little bit, but as you're reading through the curriculum, working on your sections, make sure that you understand what are the materials that you need. And if you don't see something on that list, make sure we have it on the list, because this is the checklist that we're going to use to make sure that we have everything ready to go for the workshops. Any questions on this opening box? And this will be pretty standard in all the curriculum that you'll see. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing really quickly because this is going to be a point where we are going to think about your learning style and what is the best way for you to learn some curriculum. And I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So as you move into the curriculum pieces, there are notes to the MCs. Eventually there will be some notes to the facilitators. One other thing to note is that you'll see in the bold as the headers, kind of the name of the activity and about how long that activity will take. So we said that the entire opening session is 3 hours, but we also want to give you some time checks inside the session because 3 hours is going to be a long time, right? So you don't necessarily want to be spending 45 minutes on the welcome because that's going to impact your ability to get through some of the other activities, right? So we do give you some kind of time checks to make sure that you're kind of staying on track. The welcome goes for 20 minutes. That's okay. You can probably make it up. And so as a facilitator, you're going to have the ability to kind of make some of those negotiations in terms of how long activities are taking to move through. And so it doesn't mean that, okay, it's been 15 minutes, we got to go. That is not necessarily the intent of these time checks. It is more for you as a facilitator to kind of have a sense of how long things should be taking so that you can make some of those decisions in the moment. Some of this is going to be built out by the MCs as they are working together to develop their activities and what is going to be happening. So for the welcome, the celebration exhibit, and the retreat overview, those are going to be primarily led by the MCs. And so facilitators, your role is to be there and be excited, be those right on folks in the audience, supporting the engagement of members. Once we get to the chapter huddle, so this is like a little bit over an hour into the opening session. Facilitators, your role is going to kind of kick in at this point. MCs are going to be giving directions for the activities from the stage so that the entire group is hearing the directions. And there are going to be points where we're going to be coming back to large group and then moving into these makeshift chapter groups. And so there'll be a little bit of back and forth. So again, facilitators, you're supporting that to happen. MCs, you're the ones that are driving the action forward, right? So you'll be working together, facilitators and MCs, to move through this next set of activities. So the other thing to know about CYC curriculum is that we oftentimes create a script. You are not bound to this script. The script is there to help you out, give you some language. Please feel free to put it in your own words. So anything that is in italics is what we would consider a script. Those, you can change those words around all you want. So just want to also kind of note that as you're going through the curriculum, you're seeing stuff in italics. That's kind of like, you're going to be saying that out loud to the audience. If you're seeing things that are not in italics and just like the regular writing, those are directions for you. So we did try to put the instructions, the directions into a box so that it is clear when we're talking about a script versus directions, right? So whatever's in the box, whatever's in the regular writing, that's not stuff that you're saying out loud to the group, but notes for yourself so that you can kind of understand what's going to be happening. So as you can see, it kind of flips back and forth between kind of directions for you and then what you might say out loud to the group. And you'll see this in all the curriculums where it's kind of broken down in that way so that, and we want to make it as clear as possible. What is the stuff that you're saying out loud versus the stuff that is more kind of for you to know to be able to give effective directions. Does anybody have any questions about kind of how that's laid out? Okay. Awesome. All right, so now I actually want to have a chance for you to get into the curriculum. We are going to do in breakout rooms. So for some folks, it's easier to learn curriculum or read through curriculum by reading through it quietly as just by themselves, right? So put your headphones on, whatever it is that you need to do to kind of focus and actually read through the curriculum. For other folks, it's helpful to read it out loud together. So we're going to create spaces. So if you're one of those folks that likes to read through, kind of think through it in your head, there's going to be a quiet space. If you're somebody who would rather read it out loud, there's going to be a talking space where we're going to read through the curriculum together. We're going to spend till 11:45 doing that. So we're going to have about 25 minutes to read through the curriculum. The ask is that you read the entire curriculum. One thing to note about the curriculum, it's kind of like a script for a play, right? So as you're reading through it, do your best to visualize what it would look like. So really taking the time to think about how, like, and imagine and kind of see what it would look like in a workshop space. We are going to come back at 11:45. So Kenny will be in one room, I'll be in the other room. If you do have questions, we'll be there to answer questions in the moment, but we're going to come back and kind of just do a check-in with each other, make sure that things are making sense. If anybody has any questions that we weren't able to answer in the small groups, that we have the opportunity to do that. So Kenny, if you can set up 2 rooms. And one room will be for folks who'd like to read through quietly, so no out loud reading, and one room for out loud reading. And if you can let participants select the room, that would be great. Is everybody able to access the curriculum?
Yes.
So, so I did a little bit more than 2 rooms. What do you call it? So just so folks, because sometimes I like to read out loud in order to process. So I did create a couple of quiet rooms and 1 group room.
Because I would say if you're going to read out loud to yourself, put yourself on mute. But because there's only 2 of us, Kenny, and so we can't answer questions.
Yes. Oh, so are we going to be in? We're going to be in separate rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny.
Right.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Kenny.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Let me see.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate Kenny because his energy is just like, it's great, man. Like, I feel like in the group chats when you be sending out like the sunglasses emoji and just the way like he is, like his energy is great.
Yeah. We gotta stay ready for what do you call it? Yeah. Can everyone self-select?
It's like breakout rooms.
Yes.
It doesn't show yet.
I think I didn't do it right. Okay, let me reset.
Kenny's me, honestly, because I'm not really tech savvy, so like I'll get confused.
Options. Okay, allow participants to choose room. How about now?
Yes, it popped up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Right. So yeah, so if you would like to read through quietly, go ahead in that room. And Kenny, you want the quiet room or you want the read out loud room?
I'm open for either one.
Okay, if you want to be in the read aloud one, please choose group read 1. And Kenny, do you want to stay in this space for a couple of minutes and then jump in the quiet room?
Yes.
To answer any questions, and then we can come back at 11:45.
11:35.
11:45.
45. Okay, Google. Set alarm for 11:45.
11:45 a.m. Set.
Felicia and Aisha, let me know if y'all need help getting into the rooms or.
I'm sorry, mind you, when I just came back right now, it was like silent. I said, I wonder if they're waiting for somebody to say something because I ran to the restroom. Wait, so what did you say?
So yeah, right now we're jumping into quiet rooms. So if you're gonna read quietly, or there's a group read room as well, you can jump into that one to read as a group to go through the curriculum. So right now we're reading through the curriculum until 11:45, and then we're gonna come back and answer any questions.
Okay.
Helping out in the group.
That's the
read one.
first link that Kate dropped, the kickoff curriculum, right?
Yes, yeah. So we're just gonna read through it, answer any questions.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. So do y'all want to jump into? So we want to put y'all into different rooms because I'm gonna leave this room as well. So if you want to go to the quiet read room, I can put you in there, or you can jump over.
Yes, please. In the quiet room.
Quiet room. All right, and then Aisha.
Yes, I'm good.
You gonna go to the quiet room?
Oh, I thought this one was the quiet room. Okay, yeah, I'll join the other one. Quiet.
Okay, I'll send you over.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, in our read out loud group, we didn't quite make it all the way through. For folks who are in the quiet room, how did it go?
It was great. That is definitely my mode of things. I kind of just like power through with reading. And I actually do have a couple of questions. So whenever there's a space for that, I got you.
Absolutely. So I do wanted to say, so the read aloud group, I'm happy to stay on a little bit after if y'all want to read through the collective storytelling. However, also encourage you, if you need to jump off at noon, feel free to go ahead and find somebody else to read aloud with or call me later. So yeah, just want to open that up. But Jakara, yes, please, questions.
Okay, so the first question I have is in relation to the collective storytelling part 2. So I understand in general, like sharing the victories and like laws and how that goes into shaping CYC, but honestly, I would like some sort of example so that I could actually, if they are confused at all as well, like, what do you mean by uprising and collective trauma and challenges?
So there are wider events in the world that have been happening throughout the last couple of years. And those wider events, both personal and in our communities, in our state, in our country, have impacted the work that we do, have impacted us personally. So we also want to be able to name some of these other things that have been happening in the last couple of years. And so some of those things might be individual things, like could be something like a car accident, could be something like moving, it could be lots of different things for folks. So like individual things. There could be some things that are happening in the community. So for example, one of the things that happened in Los Angeles is that the juvenile hall was found to be unsuitable for habitation, or one of the juvenile halls was found to be unsuitable for habitation, right? And so that has impacted the kind of advocacy that we wanted to do here in Los Angeles, right? And so like that ruling was an important thing that happened. There were also kind of collectively, right, in the state and in the nation, this uprising that happened after the murder of George Floyd, right? And so that also kind of played into some of the direction that CYC headed in. It influenced some of the work that we were doing in our communities. It influenced how we showed up in CYC spaces. So those might be an example of some of the things that we want to name. Do people have other examples that you want to share?
Okay, thank you. That was helpful. Nobody else has anything. I'll keep asking my questions. So also kind of in relation to the follow-up to the collective storytelling. So the languaging specifically kept saying timeline. So I just want clarity. Are they supposed to be actually putting a date to when these things happen?
Yeah, so the way the room will be set up is that there will be some dates on the wall and folks will be able to put their Post-its within those months or year, right? So like it'll be months, the 2 years will be laid out in kind of a timeline fashion. And so we have in the space, there's a large wall and our timeline will go across that wall.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's definitely really useful to know. Okay. And the last thing, I wanted to know if there was a possibility at all to extend that initial, when we're first getting into the makeshift, what was the word? The makeshift
chapters.
Yeah, chapters. And I say that because it just seems so like timing of it, it's relatively 1 minute and 30 seconds long. Just by the way that it was written for the most part, because it said like 30 seconds to mingle.
So it actually is longer. So you get 30 seconds to mingle. But then when you get into your group, so in round 1, MCs will call out a number like 4, right? And so 30 seconds to mingle. There'll be like 1 minute for people to find 3 other people to get into a group with. And then in that group, they'll have about 5 to 7 minutes to make a secret handshake. And so to introduce themselves to each other and make a secret handshake.
Would they ever be coming back to that group again, or is it just that one time?
That one time. However, what we have found is that when people see each other again. Like,
Gigi, ow. Sorry, my cat.
it's okay. Which one, the orange one or the other one?
The smaller Oreo looking one. She's in heat right now. So she's a little rough.
Fair enough.
Whenever my cat accidentally claws me, I have to trim his nails because it really bothers me. Like, that's it. You're getting your nails trimmed today.
Right. Definitely with the secret handshake, what we do see is that people come back to it. And so when they see each other, they'll do pieces of it. Like the next day at lunch, they'll like run into like, hey, you were my secret handshake. So it is kind of this intention that although they don't formally come back to those groups, this is a connection that they're making with somebody else.
Okay, perfect. And so with that said, what I mean by extending it, so in my high school color guard group, there was this activity that we had. I'm just going to call it Huddle Up. And it's actually very similar to this. All that it is that music is playing, and then whenever it stops, the MC would call out a number, and then they would have to run into that number of groups. And whoever wasn't able to get into a group, then you were out of the game. And you kept playing until you got down to 2. I mean, it just seems like kind of a way that we could kind of build a little bit more of like that kind of icebreaker kind of connectedness. People are getting pumped up and excited and running around to the group. So maybe as like a first round activity, doing just that, and then actually focusing on the group and the handshake and the huddle, just so it's a little bit more of like a, you know, like we're actually having fun with each other first and like just not focusing on any specifics.
So would you do 2 rounds maybe of like getting people out?
Yeah, like whether it's 1 or 2, because realistically it's up to the MCs to kind of decide how fast it goes. Because for instance, let's say we're down to 13 or 14 people, you can instantly knock out a bunch of the group by saying form a group of 8. That means that automatically the other 6 are going to be out completely, and that's already shortened the game down to just 8. So it can go by really fast, but it's just like a, you know, quick moving game, and people are going to want to huddle up with each other. You'll see a lot of people like, oh, come to this group, come to this group. So it's just like, again, just getting people a little bit more actively engaged, kind of fast paced.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a note right now, and we will. Does it sound like that would be? And I feel like that's kind of cool and fun to add in. What do you think?
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's all. Cool. Any other questions from folks?
I don't have a question, but I love how it's like what we say, how to guide it and everything. Like, I love that because it makes me feel more confident about doing it. I'm like, oh yeah, I can, okay. And then how you mentioned like picture yourself doing this. So I'm gonna practice on my siblings.
Awesome, yay. I was like, love the practice on the siblings.
Yes.
Sorry, just making a quick note so that I can go back and add in that huddle up piece. That is, yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, definitely appreciate. So part of it is like, again, we're going to go back to the learning objectives and make sure that we are hitting those learning objectives. And there is some flexibility as a facilitator, as an MC, to make this curriculum work for you, right? So definitely thinking about kind of those energizer pieces, especially, you know, at that point we'll have been in this opening session space for a while. So again, getting folks up, having that bit of fun totally makes sense at that point. So kind of energizer piece before we get back into the work. Awesome. All right. So amazingly, I don't know how this happened. It is almost noon. So congratulations. So I do want to kind of reiterate what Jeanette said in terms of travel. So there's a couple folks she still needs to connect with in terms of travel. If you have not yet connected with Jeanette, or you're not sure about how you're getting to Tea for Tea next weekend, please connect with her this afternoon so that we can make sure that you are having those arrangements made. The second thing is we will see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. We are going to be trying to really make sure we're starting these sessions on time. So just want to kind of, I know in CYC, we sometimes have this like first 15 minutes is a little bit come and go. My goal is to start as close to 10:05 as possible. Kenny is recording these sessions, so I really would appreciate it if y'all could make it as close to 10 o'clock as possible, because we do want to kind of jump into the icebreaker, get to know you, keep building those kind of connections, because y'all will be working together as a team. But we also do want to wrap up on time. So if you all could do your best to be there as close to 10 o'clock as possible, it would be much appreciated. And Jonas.
I was gonna say, I have like a lot of sleep issues, right? So like this morning, I was gonna wake up. I woke up actually before 10, but like I was set to get up and like wake up, you know. But I don't know how I did it, but you know what? I think it's also just like I'm really excited about this like whole ordeal. Like I usually it'd be really hard to get out of bed, and plus I went to bed late last night because of some stuff. But I got up and I was like, facilitation kickoff meeting starts today at 10 a.m. I'm not gonna sleep through this, so I made it as soon as possible. So I'm really excited and glad that I'm so happy. Like I'm so happy reading through all this stuff. So that's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. So yes, we will see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. for session 1. Very excited.
Don't leave yet. Thank you for.
Have a great Saturday, everybody.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Esther,
Don't leave. Like, am I
Kitty has
muted?
one more thing to share.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to just give y'all a look at some of the mascots from last year. From 2008, right? When we first did this activity, because I know Jonas was asking about what did that look like, or how did that, you know, when you talk about it being 3-dimensional, I don't know why it's not changing. Oh, I'm going to lose that. So this is what some of them look like, right? They're going to be larger this year. Each group will have, instead of one mascot, they'll be able to create 2 mascots. And it's just, they're supposed to embody, you know, the group, everyone in the group, their regions or their counties, and any goals that they have overall for creating teamwork and networking and community. So these are just some examples of what folks did. And I'm not sure if you can tell which chapter this was. I might give it away a little bit.
I think I was expecting like cutouts of like I don't even know what I was expecting, but just the foam balls and stuff. That's really cool because I just imagine like a cutout and like that stands up and then like I don't know. And my brain was like, how are we gonna do that? You know, so it's pretty interesting to learn.
Right, and then we want to shout out Top Gun is out. Make sure you can see it. He is definitely, you know, was Top Gun ready way in 2008.
Right.
And then these were some of the group shots. I could only find a couple of them, but this is a chapter. You remember this chapter?
That's San Mateo.
Is that San Mateo? Okay.
San Mateo, back in the day.
And this
that was
is
Alameda.
Alameda, of course. And for our curriculum developers, I want you to reference Sade throwing up gang signs right here. Or please check her on that and let her know, you know, that it was seen. And
Wait, can you go back so I can take a photo of it?
okay.
This is going to be used for blackmail.
So I'll send it to you so you have a better quality.
Oh, perfect. Sade will love this. She's always roasting you in YTP. This is your time to shine, Kenny.
Right.
You said blackmail.
And this is actually
That's Los Angeles.
That's LA, right? I'm like, Jenny's in there. Threw me off a little bit. So yeah, so that was it. just wanted to show y'all those. So definitely that way, at least there's a group of y'all who have an idea of kind of what it looked like before. Doesn't mean it has to look like that now, but I just wanted to like help Jonas out as far as visual, like what does that look like? So we'll have all those.
I'm a visual learner.
Me too, yeah. So yeah, we'll have supplies and crafts, and you know, shoot, if you have something that you're like, maybe this will work, bring it, you know. So that's about it. But thank you all for being here. And yeah, the session is recorded and we'll share it with you all so you can look back on it if you need to.
Are you guys gonna put it on YouTube? Because there was others on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are great. I love this meeting.
And then we're going to take it
Great
off.
kickoff.